Start? No, not cut. Begin? Whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to Days Off. I am Andrew, this is my garage, and these are my shit boxes. On this episode, we are actually working on the Friday 996. We got some new H&R Street suspension for it, and we're gonna do a brake job on it. Basically get it back to the point that I don't hate driving it anymore because it's got terrible coilovers in it right now that I wanna get rid of. And the brakes are squealing constantly and not biting, and the rotors are pretty heavily grooved, so I wanna change it all out for something that's a little bit better. A little bit of history with the 911, I've had it for almost 2 years now. I bought it after I sold my silver 2018 WRX and my 2004 STI. I had it for a short time. The car is a Carrera, sport seats, rear wiper option. It's got Bose sound. Came to me with H&R lowering springs on stock suspension. The front struts blew, leaking oil everywhere, clattering. It was not a good time, so I decided to put rough coilovers in it that I found on Craigslist. Coilovers are garbage. They ride super harshly, and I just don't like them. So I'm trading them out for something that I think is gonna be a lot more compliant, make the car ride a lot better, and just be a nice place to live and drive, because I drive it a lot when I do drive it. I actually bought this as a daily driver. It's got over 200,000 kilometers on it. Still runs great. I did an AOS system on it over the summertime, so I got rid of a big sort of maintenance item. It has an IMS bearing refit. It's got a rear main seal done. It's had the motor actually refreshed, rebuilt, new rings, bearings, head gaskets, studs, the whole deal. Yeah, it's a good unit. I want to fall in love with it again, so let's get the cars out of the garage, get this thing into service position, start tearing it apart. Maybe we'll have some H&R Streets in it today. Stay tuned. All right, well, last time I drove the Subaru on Friday night, it overheated. So hopefully it doesn't do that for the 20-foot trip it's taking me over there. Sounds like garbage. Car's really unhappy. All right, that's Mustang out, 911 over. Alrighty, shut the door because it's nice outside, but it's cold. So I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit warmer in here so my hands don't freeze. So we got the wheels off, car's jacked up, and as you can see, the brakes are kind of foolsome to the eye. They look decent, but really when you get up close, like they're grooved, and all these little cross-drilled holes are all you know, they're micro cracked, they're crammed full of rust and junk. And all these brakes squeal. Like there's a visible lip on the inside of the hat here, and on the edge, and on the back side is quite grooved actually. I don't know if maybe you can see that. Maybe my exposure will do something for us, but they're pretty grooved. As you can see, the pads make so much dust, like they're just made of cake batter. I'm gonna start by taking off the wheel spacers because they are screwed into the brake rotor, and then we'll begin disassembling the calipers and the pads, coilovers. For the front coilovers, we have to remove the lower ball joint, and for the rears, we actually gotta take some of the interior apart to get at the top hats. So I'm just gonna start picking away at it, do a little bit of work today, do a little bit of work tomorrow, a little bit of work the next day, and the day after that, and then eventually we'll be driving it. All right. Loctite, decent. Okay, that'll stay. Just checking the wheel bearing. Don't have any grinding spots. Solid, so we're good there. Let's take a look at the rotor. Side-by-side comparison, George Harrison. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so this on the right is the OEM spec cross-drilled rotor. I don't know if these are actually OEM or if they're an off-brand. I think they're an off-brand. They just look very cheap cast material. They're Sebro, they're higher quality. They got this nice coating on all the bare areas that aren't touching brake pad to help prevent corrosion. They'll be a little bit nicer. The biggest thing is that they're grooved and not cross-drilled, because cross-drilled, when they get a lot of heat, will crack. So, new, old, do you like cross-drilled? Do you like slotted? Personally, I'm slotted or solid rotors all the way. I hate that bullshit. The only time I ever used cross-rolled rotors is when I didn't know any better, and I put a set of power stops on my 2010 Mustang, and they were garbage. Anyway. Oh my God, that does not want to move. All right, gloved up, poisoned myself with brake clean and brake fluid last spring, and I don't want that to happen again, so be smart. Use the gloves that I so provided myself for reasons of safety, because not doing that would be pretty counterintuitive and stupid. And although I'm a stupid guy, I don't want to die. So I'm gonna glove up. Okay, caliper is free. Let's go stick it on the bench. These calipers aren't in the best of shape in terms of like finish and stuff. You can see I've got like a lot of peeling and stuff in the clear and the powder coat. I'm feeling like I should take them apart and make them nice, but like I'm gonna drive the car this winter and they're gonna get fucked up more. So I think I'm just gonna leave them, just clean them up, get the new pads in, call it good. All right. Oh. That was a fight. That didn't need to happen. All right, so the pin, as you can see, is pretty spongy. So I'm gonna take the wire brush to it, some Scotch-Brite and some oil and clean it up. Should come out a little bit better. Should actually be like one solid color, not all checked up like this. Oh, perfect. The oil just helps soften up the corrosion, and also stops from turning to dust and stops you inhaling it. Nice gentle scent of penetrating oil, but you don't get rust in your lungs, which is a bonus. Okay, the next thing to be cleaning up is your retaining clip. You do not want them to be brown. This should be a nice shiny metallic piece. They are anodized or nickel plated or whatever it is. So I'm gonna clean this all off. It's not too vital. I mean, the pads will move across here. As you can see, they got marks from where they slide. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. That's where the pad will ride in this little groove. Kind of sits like that. So, you know, there is going to be movement there, and you don't want it to bind. So it's best to clean it as good as you can. I'm actually going to take some all-purpose cleaner and a drill brush to it and see if I can get this all kind of dealt with. Pretty safe to say we're not going to save these retaining clips. It's pretty boiled. I could take the brass brush to this. I think I'm gonna just wait for the new pads. Throw those in the trash. Bearing's still pretty good, pretty solid, so we're gonna reuse it. parts are always nice. Oh look, more new parts. I'll tell you about that in a second. All right, don't know where we left off. I guess I had done the front driver's side. It's Tuesday night. So off camera, I started working on the passenger side. I got as far as getting the coilover swapped over, ready to mount in place. Ran into an issue with the ball joint, lower ball joint. I stripped the stud on it and could not get it to take a nut.
That's what she said?
So what that means is you can't just replace the ball joint, you have to replace the lower control arm, which is that part I just showed you over there. Those are new set of lower control arms. They're just World Pack specials, whatever. I think the Porsche lower control arms were like $400 a piece, and those were about $112 or something like that. Got them in an hour. Yeah, I didn't want to pay a premium for that one. So I'm gonna start tonight by throwing those in, and then I'm gonna button this up, and then I'm gonna move on to the rears because I'm just falling way behind doing this. I wanted this done yesterday. I wanted this done Sunday, but you know, waiting on brake pads and shit. Got a mismatched set of brake pads because the parts were fucked up. They can actually only get Accabono rears and Rebestis fronts. Whatever, we're not running them for long. They'll probably do fine for the winter or whatever, whenever I get hawk pads coming in. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling and get to it because I don't have much time tonight. So I gotta work tomorrow. I doubt we'll get it finished, but I can go as far as I can. So let's get to it. This is the level of bashing, as you can see. I don't know if that'll focus. Yeah, not stoked. That's a chunk of floor from where I threw it. That took way too long. I'm gonna go through the other, I'll show you the control arm and everything, and then I'll go button up the other side. Call it a night. We've got ECS wheel spacers and extended lugs. Got the new Sebro grooved rotor, not slotted. H&R Street coilovers with preload adjustable height. And the Rock Auto World Pack special lower control arm with zip tie height sensor because this old plastic shit broke because I'm a ogre. So I zip tied it and it sits just fine for now. Really slipping bashing up. Let's take this under tray off. Let's just leave moving all the way up. I'm not happy. This one seems like it was maybe a little pooched. Let's see if I can wiggle it. Maybe not. Doesn't seem to have play. You can see where the threads are pretty messed up on this one, right there. See, that's why I didn't want to take, and this all stripped out. Like, real bad that stripped out. Look at that. Porsche. Get you nice and close to the action, because it's so action-packed.
Place like thin.
Boom. Oh, I went way better than the other side. Probably because I had a feel for it this time. I'm just a hillbilly in a garage, getting irate about not driving this car. Why? Because I'm impatient. Buddy Rob would say, what's the torque spec? Good and tight. Okay, ball joint going on. Hopefully that's the last fucking time I ever have to do this. I tighten up the end link, throw the caliper back on, and the rotor, and put the pads in, and then we're done the front. And then I'll pick this up tomorrow when we come back and finish the rears. Well, unfortunately, that's gonna do it for tonight. I'm absolutely wiped. That's what I get for getting up super early to work and then, yeah, trying to work on the car after. I'm gonna go wash my hands, eat some food, and go to bed. And hopefully, because if I remember correctly, mirrors are a lot easier than the fronts, that will take roughly an hour. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Alrighty, well, it is the next day, and well, I kind of did some stuff off camera because I was motivated. I had time this morning. I spent about an hour and a half down here doing the rear brakes. Took calipers off, cleaned them all up, did the sliding pins, put the rotors on, put the spacers on. Everything's nice and clean. I cleaned up the hubs and all that, and the dust shields. And yeah, brakes are ready to go. I got the hardware kit sitting in the box outside that FedEx just dropped off, so I'm gonna start working on pulling that paneling off the interior that we need to get the coilover top hats, and then cinch up the brake situation, bleed them, get the car on the ground, set the height, set the camber, set everything up. I also have to make the little loops for the brake wear sensors so that we don't throw a dash code. And once that's all done, we're gonna drive this bitch. My plan is to get this all done tonight and drive it to work at 4 a.m. tomorrow. Join me in my office, won't you? So we got the top of the coilover, or strut, if you have a stock strut, whatever. We have the top exposed of the suspension, of the shock, whatever you want to call it. Bingo. Totally forgot to hit record. Anyway, those nuts are off.
That's what she said.
Everything's ready up here. You can go down the bottom, disconnect the coilovers from down there, and then we'll throw the H&Rs in. Got like the craziest sunset right now. Look at that. Ooh, okay, enough of that. Back to this. So, shut off the camera and just got to work for a little bit. Bled the brakes, got the coilovers in the rear, everything's done. We're gonna set it down, check the height, adjust, level it all off, and then maybe get it out for a drive tonight. It's getting late already. Had a couple things fight me again, so we'll see how it goes. Moment of truth. Oh boy. So that's too low. Yeah, I'm gonna need some preload. All right, it's on the ground. So I set the coilovers kind of just not a lot of preload, and they were absolutely slammed. This thing was not even getting off the quick jacks. So I had a shit ton of preload to the rear. We got equal measurements now, left and right on both sides, like front and back. We got 24¼ inch to the fender well on the front, and then 25 on the back. Just got a little bit of a rake. I'm not sure how it's gonna clear turning. It was sitting about there before on the roof coilovers. The thing about the way it was set up before, like the height was good. It wasn't like scrapey or wasn't rubbing or anything like that. It was literally just riding like shit. So hoping these H&Rs clean that up a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna clean up a little bit. I'm gonna try and get this out and get some gas in it. See if I hear or feel anything funky, and yeah, maybe we'll drive it to work tomorrow. It's only like 10 o'clock, but I'm absolutely shit kick beat. This thing is not easy to work on. So I'm gonna put away the quick jacks and stuff, torque the wheels, hit the road. Right, well, if I'm being honest, I'm not insanely happy. The coilovers don't feel a whole lot better than, so I'm gonna go home and park it again and probably not think about it for another month. I'm just so fucking over it.
Don't listen to that version of me. That was a really just bad night and a bad week for me. The 911 is great. The H&Rs are just fantastic. The new brakes work great. They could use maybe one more bleed. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I still haven't gotten the Hawk pads for it because they were on back order. I canceled the order to make room on my visa for Christmas. Anyway, those will show up. We'll do more stuff with it this year. I plan on tracking it. I plan on a couple adventures with it, but I am thoroughly enjoying not driving it as much as I did before because it is no longer my daily driver. And I guess I should show you why it's not my daily driver anymore. So let's go for a little ride. Of course, I have to follow a BMW slowly down my favorite road. All right, let's see if I can do this one-handed. So, we are in my new 2022 Volkswagen GTI. I guess it's not entirely new now because it's 2023. After the whole 911 thing, like, going in my mind, like, bought that to daily drive, it wasn't really working out because it just kept having these little issues, wasn't comfortable, like, kept beating on it, just basically firing it through potholes all the time in Vancouver because, let's face it, Vancouver sucks. So I started driving the Subaru. The Subaru started overheating all the time, and I actually haven't even gotten to that yet. I kind of parked it and left it. I believe it's a thermostat problem. Maybe even a radiator issue, I'm not sure yet. It's definitely not head gasket related. I have looked into that. The oil is fine, the coolant is fine. I said, you know what, I can figure it out. I'm gonna go look for something new, and I did. I found this, made a deal, bought it cash, and here we are. It's a 2022 GTI. It's a 6-speed manual. I did look at DSG, decided not to go that route. This one drove really nicely in the 6-speed version, and I quite enjoy it. Nice interior lighting. All the finishes are soft. Everything that you put your arm on isn't uncomfortable. Steering's a little bit vague, not as sharp as like some of the other cars I've had. It's actually less sharp than the WRX used to be. Other than that, it's got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which I love. It's got wireless charging. It's great. It's gonna daily drive awesome. I actually do plan on tracking this as well. I'm going to get a set of Yokohama Advans for it and some sort of wheel and tire, I think OZ Rallies is what I'm shooting for in white, just because it'll match the car. And a set of brake pads, some RBF 660, and we're gonna go have fun with it. I will say I did have an issue. The shift knob came pre-broken from the factory. They tried to blame me. I told them, nope, that's bullshit. And they replaced it. They should. It's got less than 5,000 K on it. Did anybody else know that a GTI service interval is 15,000 kilometers or like 6 months? It's insanity. I'll be changing the oil every 5,000 K. Alright guys, that was a quick look at my new 2022 Volkswagen GTI. Even though it's 2023, it's a new car. A little weird, got it at the end of the year, whatever. As far as future plans with it, everybody's like sending me stuff to like mod it and work on it and do this and do that. I don't have too many plans about that stuff. I kind of like to keep it just as is for now and just enjoy it. I will throw tires and brakes at it because I am gonna track it a little bit. How can you not? It's GTI. So that'll be the daily. The 911 will now be one of the adventure cars. It won't take home daily status as much. The STI, I am on the fence about selling it, keeping it, working on it. I just don't know. I've got 4 cars. I got no space. I'll have to figure it out. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. That's gonna wrap it up for this episode. I wanna thank you guys so much for stopping by once again, for continuing to watch into 2023. I was very shocked around Christmas time. I looked at my video list and saw that 2 of my videos have now gone over 1,000 views. One of them actually has like 1,500, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot on YouTube, but for me, I was very surprised that that many people had clicked on my video and watched through, and it was very motivating to see that. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sharing and subscribing, commenting. I really appreciate it. That being said, please leave a comment on this video, like this video, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. What I really want you to do is leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of like the different kind of production value from my normal episodes. You know, using a tripod, not as vloggy, that kind of thing. I've got better audio now. I just got this rad Kamika like lavalier mic, which I'm pretty stoked about. So I'll be using this stuff a lot more this year. And hopefully we'll take it on some more cool adventures with us. As always guys, enjoy your own days off, make the most of them, go on rad adventures, drive cool cars, do fun with your friends, and I will see you on the road. Have a good one. That's about all it's gonna, as good as it's gonna get.